From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrus with Weather Weeklies.
And good Sunday morning to another edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, November 20th. And we're starting to get our first taste of wintry weather today for some areas. And it's going to kind of set the mood for what's to come down the road. I don't think this is going to be much of a big deal for most areas. But the whole idea here is we're going to be transitioning into winter very shortly. It's now November 20th. I think the pattern change that we talked about in the winter outlook being after Thanksgiving is still on track. It might be delayed by a week or two. As far as the not starting right at Thanksgiving, but it's still coming, and we do see signs of that. We'll discuss that in this video. First, we'll start off with the long-range table from Friday. This is in the public long-range that we do every Friday, and we recap this in every video to start off. The temperature here on the 19th, of course, yesterday was above normal, very warm yesterday, but now we have come to a crashing halt, and you can see the temperatures are obviously much colder today. That will continue through about the 22nd. Then we're going to have a storm system that's going to cut off to our northwest, and that's this system on the 23rd, 24th time frame, right before the day, right before Thanksgiving and into Thanksgiving morning. It looks like it's going to bring some showers. We're going to be the warm side of that system, so that's going to bring temperatures back to near normal, a synoptically driven warmth. That's going to take a break in between the below normal temperatures and then the slightly below normal temperatures as a wait on the other side from the 26th through about the 28th. Then we get back to another period of near to slightly above normal before we have another change in temperatures, and that might be our pattern change right around the 2nd here. It's still too early to determine that yet, but I'm seeing some indications of if it's not this early, it's going to be right after that. It's going to be very close. Okay, so somewhere between the 1st and 2nd week of December, we're expecting this pattern change. The euro, which has been against this pattern change, where the GFS has been more aggressive, they kind of flipped roles here recently, and now the GFS is showing this pattern change, holding off a little bit to the 2nd week of December, and the euro is trying to rushing in here in the 1st week. So either way, it's going to be either the 1st or 2nd week of December, and then I think we go into a very ideal pattern, which is going to be a very active pattern. Give an abundance of snow chances in the month of December, and we will head below normal for the month of December as a whole, and we can see that here. We did adjust November to slightly above normal now instead of near normal like we had in the previous update. That's just because even though it's going to be cold, we're going to do the cold shots the rest of the month. It's not a sustained cold. The true pattern change didn't hit yet. So since we started off so warm for the month, it's going to take a lot to get that below normal. And I think we still end up +1 to +3, even with those cold shots like the current one. Okay, so November as a whole, precipitation-wise, will also be slightly below normal, except for the areas that are going to be getting snow in the far northern areas. We're going to be slightly below normal November as a whole snowfall. But don't get too excited about that, because the normal snowfall in the month of November is really not much at all. It's less than an inch in Philadelphia, 1.4 inches in our central sections, like in Allentown. So you're really not expecting too much snow anyway. Okay, in the month of November. It's really in December we start kicking it in, not high year yet, but we start kicking it up a notch as far as total snowfall. We do think the month average is above normal in total snowfall. Here's the system that was on weather alerts last night. You can go to our weather alerts page and see the details and the detailed discussion with this, but this is where we expect the snowfall to be today. Now, this is going to be synoptically driven lake effect enhanced snowfall. So you're going to have very warm lakes across Lakes Ontario and Erie. The colder air, very cold air, is passing in a northwest flow off of those lakes, and it's going to bring those snow showers pretty far downwind, farther downwind than you normally come. Normally you just see these in the northern tier, and while you will have the highest accumulations across the northern tier here, you'll still get some snow showers pretty far south, where you get some coatings even here in this D area here, this gray area. But further south of that, you can still see some flurries, but not expecting any accumulation whatsoever further south of that. So I do expect this to get pretty far south. You could get some coatings in the grass and cars and things like that if you get some heavier bursts. Now, the thing with lake effect snow is not every town gets it. So you get a big heavy burst that might come across Scranton here, and then Wilkes-Barre gets completely gypped or something like that. You're going to have waves of these coming in. It's not just going to be one band coming through and that's it. You're going to have waves of lake effect snow coming off the lakes as the wind continues to blow across the warm lakes to deposit snow in the snow belt near in western New York. But again, the winds are going to carry those pretty far south and east, I think. So we're going to get into some at least snowflakes further south than you normally see. Whether that accumulates or not remains to be seen. I think even in these areas here where it's a little warmer, you're probably not seeing accumulation during the day, or for most areas, unless you're at elevation, you probably wait till overnight, Sunday night, to see those when the temperatures cool off a little bit. Now, much has been made about the pattern change and when's it coming. So I want to discuss that a little bit. This is a look at, now we're going to be, the next couple of days, we're going to be cold, obviously. Now we're going to have, the next couple of weeks here, I think we're going to get into a pattern where we're just kind of up and down, all right? So we have a storm that's going to be coming up to our northwest like this. That's drawing in warm air for just before Thanksgiving. So you're going to have, this is a synoptically induced warmth coming in here. So this is a temporary break in the cold pattern that we're in. And then once it passes, you get the cold wrapping back in. You can see that here by the time we get to the 26th or so. Here's the cold setting in behind that system. And again, another system's going to be kind of in the vicinity here we have to watch. If it's timed well with these lows coming across the country, if it tracks just right, it can bring in, it's drawing its own cold air, and you can get some snow also. So we'll have to watch a couple days after Thanksgiving also for that. That's not off the table just yet, but we'll be watching that closely this week. But this is not an ideal pattern. The rest of the country's warm. Canada's very warm. Even up here in western Canada and Alaska, it's warm relative to average. Okay, so you really have only, this is what, in a storm-induced cold here. This is not a pattern change by any means. So this is now after Thanksgiving. We're not seeing a pattern change yet, okay? But going forward, we're going to go forward a little bit. And this is going out quite a ways. This is the beginning of December. And this is what the European ensembles are showing. This is an ideal pattern for cold in the United States. This is a very cold and stormy pattern, okay? So this would be ideal. And this is what we're looking for. When we're looking for a pattern change, you got blocking up here. You got all kinds of good things going on here. A negative Arctic oscillation. Okay, we have a negative EPO starting to go, which is ridging out here. So you got a lot of things going on that's going to be very favorable as we head into the month of December. And this is kind of like eye candy if you're looking at the cold and snow pattern. As far as the upper levels are concerned, this is what we're looking at right now. And again, there's a lot of warmth all over the place here. Here's a little storm here giving the synoptic the synoptic cold temporarily, but you don't want a low out here, a trough out here in the Gulf of Alaska if you want cold and a troughiness in the east. You just don't want to see that. And down the road, the 500 millibar pattern looks like this, and now you have a negative EPO, you have a negative Arctic oscillation. That means your cold air is bleeding down from the cold sources of the Arctic. Okay, so then you get into a colder pattern here. And this is also a very stormy pattern. You still got a fast flow here, relatively fast flow. So you got some storms that are going to be moving through this area. So you're going to increase the chances for precipitation, whether that's rain or snow. At this point, we need it. We're definitely below normal precipitation. So, odds are when you get colder here, you're going to be getting more snow and mix and slop events. All right, so that's going to be taking place here as we head into the month of December, and as you keep getting colder, those slop events turn into more snow-weighted events. There's also things we're looking at like the stratosphere, and this I posted in the forum a couple days ago. I shows you what's been going on in the stratosphere. Of course, this is the stratospheric warming has been taking place, but it's been benefiting the wrong side of the globe. This has been benefiting Europe and parts of Asia here. That's on the opposite side of the globe, whereas we remained warm here on this side. We had no effect from that stratospheric warming, but there are signs going forward that is going to be like an equal opportunity for everybody type deal. So you still get their cold over here in Siberia and Asia, the Eurasian region, but you got cold sneaking underneath here because the 500 millibar pattern will be much more favorable for our area as we showed on this graphic here. So this down the road, this is stratospheric warming benefiting this region has a lag time of about 10 to 14 days. So that'll put us on pace for the first to second week of December for any sustained pattern change. Still shooting for that, not expecting it to be any later than the 15th. I'd be surprised if it even goes that long. But I do think that it is going to be delayed but not denied, as Joe Bastardi would say. It is coming, and it's setting up very similar to what we experienced in 1995. And of course, everybody knows how the winter 95-96 goes. This is still on target, delayed, just not denied. Okay, snow cover propagation. Now, we talked about Siberia and Eurasia, very extensive snow cover here. That has not been an issue, continues to not be an issue here. They got plenty of snow cover there. We're looking at Western Canada, the source regions of the cold. Right now, all our cold shots are becoming out of Eastern Canada, where the snow cover is, and that's why you're only getting these transient shots. Well, going forward, this is where we're at right now. You get this big snow hole out here over the Rockies here in Canada. You can see that starting to fill in as we get to the end of the 10-day period. Even more so, this only goes to the 29th. Once you get past this point, this really starts to fill in a lot more. So I think you're going to get your cold air source will start coming out of here more where your snow cover is, so it has less chance to moderate as it heads south into the United States. So your cold will start becoming more sustained and more impressive as time goes on. So I don't think this is going to be something that's going to be immediate. This is a step-down process. I know a lot of people want to just flip the switch, like there's a magical switch out there. We just switched to winter. It doesn't happen like that. It's still a step-down process, and we're gradually getting there, but it's just going to take some time. And we have to remember that the calendar still says November 20th, so we still have plenty of time here. Winter doesn't technically start for another month yet, but I do think it starts before calendar winter begins. Before December 21st, where we get some legitimate snow shots coming into the picture. My Pocket Meteorologist Winter Alerts, this is the time to sign up if you have not done so already. We have winter-only packages. You can get just the weather alerts for from the point you sign up all the way through the last snow, March 31st, or the last snow for one low price of $24.99 for one county. Or if you commute between multiple counties, you can get that for $34.99. And you can monitor 2 counties throughout the winter. That will get the alerts right to your phone of what to expect as far as snowfall, ice, start and end times. Again, that's specific information for the county you live in, not a broad area. You don't have to wait for snow maps to come out. This is all sent in advance of any public maps. And we also geek it out here in the premium weather forum if you want the in-depth model analysis, the hows and whys, the meteorologist interaction, and also you get the long range several times a week as well. So you can go join that for $45 a year for a standalone purchase, or if you have an existing purchase with the alert, you can combine the two and get the like a one county alert for $24.99 and just get it for $30 more. You can get the forum as an add-on, so it'll save you money by packaging them together. So that's why you see this starting at $34.99. If you package these together, you can get it at a much lower price. So do check that out. That's the image below this video, and it'll take you to the My Pocket Meteorologist winter page where you can sign up for those alerts and the premium forum. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martis. That is this edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, November 20th. Join us again next week for another update.